So I want to do a reaction video on Ultra Vegito, this fan made series that this one guy had put out. Y'all go follow him. He's called CallMEARJ. He's a really good story writer. So I hope y'all guys enjoy this. It's gonna be like an hour long, but just try on there. Trying to see what works for my channel. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about the video. I'm gonna try to dim the lights or whatnot, so you see less of me and you see more of the video. But I'm gonna talk less, so y'all guys enjoy the video. Hit that like button, subscribe if y'all haven't already, and I really do appreciate y'all helping out my channel. Thank you. It's for a good cause. All right, let's get into it, guys. I really love this manga right here because I feel like this guy CallMEARJ does a lot better job than the actual um the what was canon. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into it, guys.
Becomes prominent as a foamy stream of saliva, thick and persistent, trickles slowly from the corner of his mouth, accumulating into a small, sorrowful pool. Woo! Dai, you won! That was so fun! He nearly had you for a while. I was worried. As meanwhile, the Omni King would be up in arms, wholly overindulged in excitement after witnessing the greatest battle he had ever seen in all his eons of watching over the multiverse. Worried for me? I'm flattered, my lord, but you did seem to cheer on our little friend quite a bit. Maybe a little too much. As Dai, now seemingly back to full health and stronger than ever, having absorbed all of Vegito's Lucif-infused energy, just as he had threatened earlier, would stand with demonic energy still trailing and leaking out of his two crimson diamonds. Oh, I was only playing. It's just that he had so much green energy. He kept his promise. As Zeno, none the wiser about the slight changes in Dai's appearance, would then look back to the fallen god killer and question, so, now that the game is finished, are you really going to send him away? Or are we keeping him? But nonchalantly, as if completely unconcerned now with the mortal who had just given him such a great fight, the angel would just turn his head looking around at the surroundings and say, I think I'd rather let that Saiyan suffer a little more after all he's done. A quick death would be no justice. Besides, don't you think we have some more pressing matters? Look at this place. It hasn't been this bad since the first multiversal tournament. Before Zeno would reply to Dai saying, oh yeah, you guys went really crazy during that last bit. I guess I never stopped to look around to see what it was doing. To which Dai would just reply, you truly are fixated on battle, aren't you, my lord? Have a look now. As when we would pan around, the level of destruction would be real, with there being all but a small fragment left.
I really like the artwork.
I'm
gonna be quiet now. I'm sorry.
Divine mushroom, with no palace anymore left in sight. Uh-oh, that's not good. To which Zeno, finally realizing, would begin to reflect on the consequences of his game, inquiring as a sweat drop would fall. If my palace is gone, where am I sleeping tonight? Where am I playing? This isn't good at all, Dai. Before suddenly, something even more important would come to the childlike deity's mind, as he would say, "Oh, and where is my throne? That's my favorite chair. I didn't even realize that was destroyed as well." But in response, the father of all angels would seem hardly bothered, as quickly raising his blackened arm into the air with a smile, he would comfort the Omni King. "No need to worry, my lord. I built this place once many years ago, and I can build it again. Most likely several times faster with the way I am now." Before zooming in on his face as his countenance becomes shadowed by a growing light, he finally would then let out, "Behold, all things this damn mortal ruined will be reset, starting with our realm, just the way you remembered it, my lord." And indeed, from the palm of his dark hand, a bright, all-encompassing divine light would shine in all directions, almost hiding the destruction and flaws of the surrounding landscape. As a giant blast of this holy energy will then shoot straight into the heavens themselves, as everything from the land to Zeno, and even the God Killer included, be lost completely within the flash of light, until nothing would be seen anymore for a few deathly silent minutes until, just like that, the entirety of the divine mushroom on which Zeno's entire realm surrounded and his palace sat upon would be revived completely with no sign of damage, as if birthed from the soil just moments ago. And of course, in the middle, at the very top, the Omni King's abode would remain. On the battlefield, no more sign of Dai, Zeno, or Vegito. I take it you're pleased, my lord. Everything should be as it once was, including your beloved throne. Leaving Dai now pleased with himself, seemingly within the palace walls, pointing towards the back of the building, where the throne would be brought back to. As a now overjoyed Zeno would commend his angel attendant, saying, "Impressive, Dai. You weren't kidding. That was way faster. It's just how it used to be. You even made my throne cooler." "Huh? Your throne?" But just as Zeno would mention a somehow different throne, Dai would be quick to look, and what he would see would absolutely shock him to the core. What in the name of Akubel? As when Dai would look from a distance, not only would Zeno's chair be visible several times larger, black and red in color instead of gold and purple, the colors of Zeno, but adorning each side would be a pair of devilish wings. And when we would zoom in, its ominous appearance would seem even darker, ornamenting a fleshless skull with dual horns that surely does not belong to any ordinary mortal. Just what has Dai created, and for who? Whoa! I wonder how it feels. But regardless, the ecstatic Zeno would run to the strange chair full of intrigue, his eyes and mouth wide open. As the closer he gets, he would yell, "Whoa! It's even bigger up close! Dai, this is..." Before then jumping quickly onto the seat and carrying on. So cool! As the small god, looking completely out of place, would then scream to his angel attendant in joy, despite how dwarfed he would now appear from the sheer size of this ominous throne. What is going on here? But even with the initial harmlessness of the situation, the idea of Dai making such an unexpected mistake to create something so deliberately detailed would leave the angel bemused, as he would wonder internally, "In all my years, I have never experienced something like this. That design, I created that monstrosity? But how?" Before Dai would then look deep into the black palm of his own hands, and finally remembers the changes that he's gone through, commenting, "It must be Lucif's energy. It will take some time for it to return to its original angelic state. But how is it causing changes without my consent?" As while he would look closer and closer into his palm, he would open and close it just to re-verify his control over his own limbs. But while Dai would be worrying, Zeno would curiously have a sad face despite his cool new chair. And after looking over at the God Killer, he would say to the attendant, "Hey Dai, so what about Vegito now? You're not really going to get rid of him, are you? That was so much fun. The most fun I've had in so long. I really like Son Goku. Don't you think we could do this again one day? Another show?" And as if clinging onto this final hope to be spared, Vegito would briefly begin to open his eyes and try to listen in. "My lord!" But ultimately, after all he has been through, this would be the last thing the Grand Priest would want to hear or discuss, as trying to keep his cool as a redness encroaches over his face, Dai would begin explaining. "The mortal before you, my lord, if this creature had managed to best me in this game of yours, if he had managed to kill me, he would have brutally killed you next. You understand that, right? This Vegito is no Son Goku, and Son Goku is not who you remember." To which the naive Zeno would just mutter, "Son Goku wanted to kill me?" Before in a quick, immature turn, the small child would just smile and yell, "So what? I can protect myself, you know. I can fight. I'm just never allowed to. I probably look really cool when I do too. cool like Jiren. As comedically, the truly delusional, vertically challenged god would then imagine himself in complete Pride Trooper uniform, the same build as a certain Jiren the Grey. My lord! But on hearing this, Dai would instantly get second-hand embarrassment, face-palming, as he would explain further. Allow me to remind you, my lord, there is a reason why, unlike most gods, you walk around with not just one angel attendant, but 3, and at all times. You know already the structure of the god hierarchy on our realm. How destroyers travel with their very own angel. Angels who far surpass them in power, yet are bound to follow their orders. Because just like you, destroyers have the ability to erase any angel with their Hakai. But in actual battle power and fighting prowess, they are mere children in comparison. They are the angels' students after all. These angels, however, by the law of the higher gods, are sworn to never attack their destroyer nor disobey, under the ever-persistent consequence of instant erasure. Just like that poor fool, Whis, experienced not too long ago. And the same applies to you and I, and the gods you once had. Your power is near infinite, able to erase entire universes, let alone just me. But when a threat approaches, from wherever it is mine and the gods' abilities that will stand in your place.
I don't know
deal
how
with any
Ultra Vegito is going to get out of this, but we're going to see, guys.
You are as vulnerable
Sorry
as you
about
look,
earlier,
my
man.
lord.
Car.
And for the safety of the multiverse, I would implore you to remember that. Before raising his hand once again into the sky with a smile, would add, fortunately, such dangers never truly reach your feet, however. With protectors such as me and the gods, you live a life of true protection. And there will never be any risk of your harm while we are around. Which is why, next on my list is to recreate Z and S. They won't be the same two we know, but with my new powers,
I don't like this.
be sure to make their successors twice as
Something bad's
powerful.
about to happen.
Before with another almighty flash of light, the area around Dai's hand will begin to unleash an unyielding shining luminescence once more. Twice as strong? As immediately, Zeno would be left to then look on in puzzlement as 2 energy formations would begin to contort and take shape into what would presumably be an all-new and improved ZNS. Ooh, they certainly do feel way stronger. Strange. As looking from side to side, the lights would get brighter and brighter, with even the Omni King being able to detect just how strong these 2 new gods would be. Whoa! Cool! As in a truly unbelievable and unsettling scene, the miniature Dai would stare on at 2 new gods, but ones who do not resemble Z and S in any way, not even in color, as the 2 horned giant warriors would be drenched in red and black armors, their horns vicious, and skulls adorning their belts that match mysteriously with the one attached to Zeno's strange new throne. Just who and what has Dai summoned? What is going on? Who are they? They look like... This turn of events, of course, leaving the Grand Priest more shocked than anybody, his eyes simply not being able to conceive what he is looking at, as he immediately realizes these are no divine gods of his making, but more of the demon realm. Dai? Are these really ZNS? They aren't saying much. While a now slightly worried Dai, getting a little scared by the cold, dead stares of his supposed guards, would form a sweat drop as he would address his attendant for insurance until... In a shock transition, the previously silent and unmoving statues of guards would immediately make a move each suddenly, cocking back their powerful fists and turning towards each other, straight for the skull of the small Zeno in the middle of them. Neither uttering a sound, but their killer intent would paint 1,000 words. Lord Zeno! No! Get away, you demons! As the one true angel, the sworn protector of the Omni King, would then launch into action, rightly so, his super speed potentially allowing him to save the childlike god just in time. At least that may have been a possibility, if not for Dai suddenly then finding himself frozen still. As mysterious yet familiar black lightning would then suddenly cover Dai entirely. What is this? Move! Leaving the lightning-clad deity now just forced to watch, unable to do a thing before. Zeno! All he can do in one final shout is yell out the name of his lord. Dai! What's happening? As Zeno, in his last moments, would just panic, never having been unprotected like this, never having been himself.
Sorry, I gotta turn on my truck. This is getting interesting though, guys. Alright, let's get back into it.
Position until... Dai! You did this! Until ultimately, all that would cover the screen now would be an explosion of blood. A god's blood. Like a watermelon being crushed in a press.
That is crazy.
And though we could not see this violence ourselves,
what is Ultra Vegito gonna do? He's just on the ground, defeated already.
His look would say it all.
I hope y'all guys are enjoying this with me.
This cannot be real! As with his eyes wide open, a crackle in his voice, as his entire being would start to tremble, would only be able to think, what did I do? Did I do this?
No, dear brother. We did.
As finally, the major consequence of harnessing all of the devil's power from Vegito would turn up. As within Guy's consciousness, Lucy would be alive and well. For some reason, now talking with an air of confidence, he would continue.
Look at what you just did, my dear little brother. Wasn't it your sworn oath to protect him? Didn't you create those guards who just annihilated him? Look at him die. Look at him!
As in a shocking sight, we would then see what was left of the Omni King. His head completely exploded.
Pineapples. That is savage. Oh man, I can't believe this.
Still in a sat position, the youngster god did not even have time to react. Almost like he just expected for his guards or die to protect him as always. As soon enough as the two demonic guards tilt his throne, as if not to stain it with Zeno's blood, the Omni King would be tossed off onto the ground, a mere piece of trash. Zeno! And even Vegito, seeing this, would be so full of shock.
Get up, Zeno.
He would find
He's
some
dead.
energy deep within to express his ultimate surprise at what would be going on,
Come on.
around him.
Vegito needs to do something.
Lucifer, you did this, not me. But how? Huh? What is happening? But the shocks would continue to come to the poor angel, as soon he would realize his body was in the process of disappearing and erasing before his very own eyes.
I didn't do anything, Die. This is your body, remember? I'm merely your hostage, as you so often kept telling that mortal. And what you just did with your body was go against your god and kill him. You know what that means for an angel, don't you?
That's crazy. The IQ level.
Explained it to him moments ago. Instant erasure.
No! And as this would happen, in full view now taking over his body, in sheer disbelief, as his whole being falls apart, Die would only question, how could you control me? No demon can control the pure heart of an angel. It is written.
Pure heart. Just how deluded have you become over the years I've been away, little brother? Have you not realized? You have grown to become even more evil than I!
As Lucifer, now just beginning to giggle demonically, would revel in his siblings' destruction. As Lucifer, now spreading his arms in Die's final seconds of life, would just continue.
Tell me, brother, just how many horrors do you think you have committed against that mortal over there? Let alone countless others in your time. You may be many things, Die, but pure of heart is not one of them. Neither of us are. We're birds of the same feather. You, all along, were the true vessel for me. The evil that secretly grew within the multiverse to harbor my return was never the God Killer. It was always you!
As behind the demonic overlord, memories of the atrocities Dai himself had committed and condoned all would be shown in full view. And now, with a defeated tone, as he finally leaves this realm for nothingness, Dai's last whisper would be, I was the vessel! Before eventually now being completely erased away, and only leaving behind the two shining bright diamonds that existed on his forehead and chest. Both a violent red, polluted by the very energy he had taken from Lucy, which ultimately would remain behind, given Lucifer himself was no angel attendant of Dai. And it wouldn't be long before the demon-filled objects would begin to transform and merge slowly with one another, slowly taking shape and expanding as various limbs would sprout forth, a demon eye opening, and a certain muscular body then beginning to finally set foot back on the mortal realm, and for the first time in millennia.
Oh, how I missed this!
As finally, the return of Lucifer, the chosen devil of the demon realm, returns back to the land of the gods and mortals, free at last, and now with nobody left at all to stop him. All thanks to Ultra Vegito, the God Killer, as he would now stand in his full, hideous form, dual-horned, dual-demon-eyed, with splatterings of lesser eyes all over his body. Eyes which one can only
Oh
think
man, how is Ultra
belong
Vegito
to
gonna get out of this,
his
guys? I don't
fate.
know. I hope y'all enjoying this though.
It is finally done.
As Lucifer, now taking awe at his physical manifestation, observing his muscular vein-filled arm, would then talk to the only other being left on the battlefield, saying,
You've won, Vegito. Your mission is complete. All gods who forsake you are now finally dead. How does it feel?
as on hearing this proclamation, this truthful proclamation, Vegito's eyes would burst even wider than before, his heart racing as he battles with the idea of his quest finally being over, but at what cost? As he would mumble,